my,
You can do that while I'm introducing you.
my cursor is not cooperating.
That's okay. That's okay. So we are live. Welcome, Facebook family and friends. We are happy to be here today. I'm so thrilled to have my guest for today, Jennifer Farrar. And just to share a little bit about her background, Jennifer is the founder and CEO of Healing Peace Within. And Jennifer is an international healer, teacher, speaker with 26 years of experience in the holistic and alternative health field. It's no wonder she has done such amazing work. Her greatest joy is to use her skills as an empath to navigate each session for her clients, to heal their deepest wounds and remove their obstacles to their best life and business possible. Their best life possible and their best business possible. She holds their souls in her hands as she guides them to their peace within. When this deep healing is facilitated, magical breakthroughs ensue. Her passion is to empower her clients to create beyond their wildest imaginings. And her philosophy is to release what no longer serves you and then energetically instill positive beliefs and emotions to cultivate and accelerate transformation for you to be able to create your best life personally and professionally. She uses a variety of energetic techniques and modalities to facilitate your radical change with speed and ease. Jennifer also has the ability to manipulate, release, and clear negative energies from people, places, businesses, and buildings to create a more positive work and home environment. And we will give more, well, I'm going to just share this right now. She attained her bachelor's degree in theater arts from the University of Iowa, where she's still there now. And she also is a Holy Fire 3 UC Reiki. Ensue, thank you. Thank you. Ensue Reiki as a master teacher, a certified emotion code practitioner, access consciousness bars practitioner, advanced theta healing practitioner and instructor, and an angelic chakra integration practitioner and healing practitioner, founder of the Quantum Consciousness Healing Frequency. Please help me welcome and bring all of your questions and inquiries to our guest today, Ms. Jennifer Farrar. Thank you so much for being here, Jennifer. I'm thrilled to have you.
Thank you, Kimberly. It's an honor to be here. Honor.
So, you've been in this healing, holistic healing industry for all these years. How did that come about?
With a prayer, actually, literally starting in 92, 93, that I am dating myself. I've been around the block a few times. I was going through a severe depression, and I called myself a functional depressed person because I wasn't on any medication, but I could function and no one knew I was depressed except for me. And, plaster a smile on your face and there you go. And I was driving to work. At that time, I worked at JCPenney, and I was in cosmetics, and I was also inventory control specialist. So I just was like, God, I can't do this anymore. I need help. And then my sister called. She was going through a rough time. She was going through a divorce, and she said, let's go to dinner. And I worked close to a lot of restaurants in downtown Des Moines, which is the state capital of Iowa. And I said, yeah, let's do it. And she's like, well, I can't be there until 7, but I got off at 5:30. And so not the smartest thing to do, but I wandered by myself at night down in downtown Des Moines. And I found in this little street, like half a street, this store called Cazole International. And it was an eclectic store that brought international art, international gifts from all over the world. And I was like, oh my God, this is a wonderful store. And as I was walking out, there was just like this big, a notice saying, come to a new moon healing circle. And it was like, what's that? And my mom and I came, and basically what it is, it's a Native American talking circle where you pass the stick, and whoever has the stick gets to talk for 5 or 10 minutes. And the people around, we were all sitting on the floor, people around us, we all had to listen, and we all had to actively listen. And one of the ladies said, I am a Reiki Master. And again, I went, what is that? And that comment set me on a four-year journey. So that was 93. In 97, I finally found a teacher that would teach me, because I found a lot of Reiki masters, well, not a lot, but several, but they weren't willing to teach for whatever, they had their own reasons, and I don't know what they are. And it wasn't until 97 that I found a teacher. But in those few years, and this is before the internet. So you had to go to a bookstore, and you had to find a bookstore that was going to sell you, that carried anything holistic, anything new age, anything remotely spiritual. So that's what I did. I went on, I went on a journey of self-exploration. And I realized in those years that the more I let go of my baggage, and I had a lot of it, that people started coming into my life to be my teachers. So I realized all I had to do was ask. And all of those asks were born out of a need. So long story, but it was a windy road. It wasn't just, oh, I'm going from A to B to C. It was, all over the place.
Those are the most beautiful stories to me, because that's how life happens.
Exactly.
That's how life happens. And yeah. In fact, it sounds very, very, very similar
to yours.
Yeah, but I missed what happened with the dinner with you and your sister, because you said you and your mom went.
Yeah, my sister lived in a different town. We had a great dinner. We went to a restaurant called Spaghetti Works, because spaghetti is one of my favorite dinners, favorite meals. And there's a whole restaurant that sells nothing but spaghetti. So that the dinner was the impetus to get me to walk around and find this. It literally was there was my building, a big parking lot, and then on the other side of the parking lot was the store called Kazol. And I would have never walked that way.
Yeah.
Well, it's not even that far. It's literally around the block, but I would have never gone in that direction
had you not had that extra time.
Had I not had that extra time.
And so evidently the sign that the notice, that was a different day. It wasn't the same day.
No, it was the same night. It was this, that was, I was wandering around for an hour and a half before I came to the dinner date with my sister. So I had that hour and a half, and as I was walking out of the store, there was that notice. And what became that notice really introduced me to a whole new world. The owners and the owners of the store became good friends of mine, and they brought in teachers. They brought now it's commonplace to bring in a teacher from across the country now, or we didn't have Zoom then, but then it was out of the norm.
Out of the norm.
It was novel. It was a novel.
90s.
Yeah. You were around then, and you were doing this then, and you had to really hunt for information then. Would you agree?
I would agree, but however, I didn't get into this until my holistic health coaching program just opened up this world for me those years I was still steeped in the Bible and in searching through all of the possibilities in there.
Well, yes. So that was still a journey.
Oh yeah, oh definitely. It was
Yeah,
definitely.
that was,
yeah. And
yeah,
I
that
went
was
to
amazing
different
journey.
denominations and
Oh yeah, because each denomination has their own philosophy and their own thought process, and it's always fascinating to find that out, because that also helps you. I mean, that set you up into learning about human behavior.
Yeah, definitely. It just opened up. Yep.
Isn't that fascinating?
It
Isn't
is.
it
It
fun?
really is. And you know, I just want people to know that wherever your life is taking you, it's the right way. It's the right way. And just like Jennifer was saying, that when she was there and she asked, each time she came to a place where she needed more, she just asked. And that was how the journey unfolded.
Oh yeah. I mean, I was introduced to Reiki, and when I mean, I still do Reiki today. Actually, I still teach it and I still do it. I still practice it, have clients. And there was, my journey was, I didn't know I was an empath. I didn't know then that I was absorbing all of these people's emotions and taking them on. So I was like, I need something to help me. I need something to help me. And each one, then EFT came into my life, emotional freedom technique, which is your primary technique. That was amazing. And I've done thousands of hours on myself and clients, a lot of it on myself. And then what else came into my life? And then emotion code came into my life, because that's all about emotion. That's all about releasing trapped emotions in your body. And that opened up a whole new world, because their philosophy is you have what's called a heart wall. And that's trapped emotions like locked tightly around your heart, which prevents you from love, which prevents you from all sorts of things manifesting, because everything is, your heart energy is, as you well know, your heart energy is so much stronger than your brain energy.
Oh yeah, more powerful and
More powerful.
the key to where you want to live from. And if your heart is got those trapped emotions, you gotta
let them go. You gotta let them go.
Gotta free them. I wanted to ask you, when you were talking about Reiki, if for those listeners who don't have any idea what Reiki is, could you give them a little understanding about that?
Yeah, it's called, Reiki means universal life energy, and it's energy channeled from God, from the universe, from, no one really knows the source, but it is such a loving, warm energy. And it's channeled through me, through my crown chakra, into my hands. So I generally call it laying on hands healing, because that's what it is. And what it does for you is relaxes you. And most people go, well, I can go to sleep to relax. Sleep is not relaxation. It's just
measured it will tell you that it's not efficient.
Yeah, and it's not. And so the clients that come to me for Reiki are those clients who are overwhelmed, those clients who are stressed, those clients who just can't handle life anymore, but they don't know what's wrong and they just want relief. So I'll put them on the table and do a Reiki session. And what I'll tell you what Reiki has done for me is that it has, anytime that I'm so exhausted because you're doing and doing and doing and doing and running and running and running and being all things to everybody else, that Reiki just gives you an hour or an hour and a half, depending on what you want, of peace. And I went through, this was from 2005 to 2000, basically 18, 19, a lot of trauma, a lot of death in my family, a lot of dealing with parents' estates. a lot of sibling stuff. And I
I'm
wouldn't have,
sure there's a lot of people out there that could relate to that. There's a lot of that.
oh yeah.
Especially these days.
And I wouldn't have been able, yeah. And I wouldn't have been able to continue. I wouldn't have been able to do everything that I did if I hadn't got regular Reiki sessions, because I was so overwhelmed and I was so hurt and I was so grieving. And Reiki just helped balance everything out. Because when we're stressed, what happens?
Yep.
We're like this.
Action. Yep.
And when we're like this for a period of time, what happens?
Start
Injuries. Yep.
Ill.
Yeah, injuries happen. And just illness happens. Disease happens. And what Reiki will do is it'll help relax your body so that your own systems, because we're incredible beings, we can heal ourselves.
Amazing beings.
I mean, you cut yourself and a couple days later it's gone. Reiki will
heals itself.
Yep. Reiki will help get rid of all of this, the energy that's come bombarding at you, so that you can just go. Yeah.
I just want to take a moment to read my disclaimer. I have it here. And
sure.
This is a general discussion about mental health, and it's not mental and emotional health. It's not meant to be interpreted as specific advice or in a specific situation. Every situation can be unique. This is not meant to replace your psychiatrist or medical doctor. Just wanted to let that
I'm so glad you did that. I'm so glad you did. I do have my clients go, should I stop taking my meds? And I'm like, no.
The doctor will tell you that when our work is evident.
Yep. I mean, people will have their meds adjusted with their doctor's advice. So I'm so glad you did that, because I don't make any claim to be a medical professional at all.
This is holistic.
Yeah, I'm an energy worker. Yeah. I work in your quantum field. So.
Whole nother area.
Oh, whole other ballgame. Yep.
So what we're really curious about is, what is this quantum consciousness healing frequency?
It's developing, actually. A couple of years ago, it was interesting. I'll tell you the beginnings of that. I had a mentor and I had a former friend tell me, you're going to develop your own modality. You're going to develop your own. I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. Literally. So I kind of put it on and then I was at an expo. I was at a Wholistic expo. And I'm walking, talking with people, walking down the aisles, checking the booths out. And some lady, I don't even know, never met her, never saw her again, grabs my arm and says, you're going to develop your own modality. And I was like, oh, okay, lady, I don't know who you are. And then she walks off.
Wow.
I was like,
sounds like an angel to me.
Oh, okay. And then gradually I started noticing, I'd close my eyes and I'm a meditator. I generally do a guided meditation, various ones. I don't have any particular one that I use every day. And I started noticing these frequencies. That's the best way of saying it. When you look at, like I would envision the earth and I would just see all these lines, like you would on a, like an EKG or things like that. And I was all over the place. And I would just kind of sit there and ask, what frequency is love? And then a frequency would pop out. Lines would pop out. I'm like, oh, that's what that looks like. So over the course of, literally a couple of years, and it's still developing now, I started to go from my head into my heart and using my heart frequencies. And that's when people were like, what was that? What did you do? I feel freer. I feel lighter. I hear that all the time, but it was more and more intense. And eventually the image of the frequencies went away, and I just started feeling it. Because I speak through the language of emotion. To me, if I don't feel it, it's not really real to me. Some people are like, I have to see it to believe it. I have to feel it to believe it. I have to understand that feeling and what it is. So I've been using that in my sessions. So when people are like all in their head, it's like, let's drop down into your heart, and this is what you can experience.
Wow. You know, some people are auditory, they are moved by hearing, and some are visual, they're moved by seeing, and some are kinesthetic, they're moved by feeling. And so there's, you know, I just wanted everybody to know that there's no wrong way.
No, and
it could even be a combination of them too.
And I tell my students that when I teach theta healing, I tell my students that we go through there's a whole chapter in the theta healing book, which you can buy off of Amazon. And there's a whole chapter about psychic awareness and psychic phenomena and which one are you? And we all have a predominant sense. Some, like you said, are hearing, feeling, seeing, and I get all the time, I want to feel it like you, and I'm like, but you're not like me. You're seeing all these colors. I'm like, what did you see? Well, I saw all this movement. I saw this all these colors shift and change. I'm like, I wish I could see that. Sometimes I'll see, and sometimes I'll hear, but predominantly, I'm an empath. So you just have to find which one works for you, which one is your predominant sense, and focus on that. The others will come.
Yeah. I thought it was interesting that we both wore pink today. We didn't plan this. It just was the universe.
No, we did not. No, we did not. Pink and purple are my favorite colors. So, and my niece's, she's the love of my life, other than my husband.
Yeah, I love pink shoots, her shoes, and pink outfits, so cute. So can you tell us about someone who might be like many people out there who came to you and what their experience was? Not saying everybody's experience is going to be the same, but just an idea. So because people have no idea. That's why I do this, so that people can realize that there are powerful, holistic ways to transform one's painful experiences.
And I'm glad you said that as well, because I had an argument with a friend of mine, and she's like, well, if they come to you, then they're not going to go to their doctors, or they're not going to seek medical advice and I'm like, well, one, we've already discussed that. And two, I was like, no, it's generally the other way around. People are coming to me because they've given up on the medical establishment. Not right or wrong, just that's what they do. That's how it happens. So people are coming to me for various reasons. A lot of them feel stuck. A lot of them aren't creating in their business like they want to be. And a lot of them have hurt. They're just hurt. They've had a lot of abuse, mental, physical, emotional, spiritual abuse.
Yeah.
And they want relief. They want to, it doesn't, I did an Instagram reel the other day about not letting bad news, sadness, all of those things take up space in your brain anymore. And basically that's it. People want to feel better, and they don't know how. And I generally will start by asking questions, lots of questions. When did you feel this way? When was the first time you felt this way? what happened. Some remember, some don't. How long ago has this been going on? Some
I
remember.
love how you say that there's 5% that we're aware of, and you work with the 95% that we're not aware of. I love that. So I'll let you continue, but I just wanted to inject that. Really.
No, I thank you for that. What that means is, depending on what expert you listen to, experts will say anywhere from 80 to 95% of our lives are run by our subconscious, meaning we're not even aware of it. And 5% of our conscious brain, which are the daily decisions we make that we know we make. I'm going to get in the car at this time. I'm going to get dressed at this time. I have to plan my day. Those are all conscious decisions. But subconsciously, like, let's take a fear. Let's take anxiety for an example. If you have problems, how do I phrase that? If you are afraid or get anxious in social situations. I don't like being in social situations, mostly because I don't like feeling everybody's emotions. So that's one thing I'll address. But what's happening is you're like, oh, I'm going to go out. I'm just going to go out. I'm tired of being in my house. And then you get all dressed up and then you start for the door. And then all of a sudden your heart starts to palpate and you start to get nervous. You start to flush. You may get over that. You may push through it. Then you get in your car. And then all of a sudden you're having a full-blown panic attack. Well, what that is, and there's absolutely no reason for it that you are aware of because you're thinking about it with your conscious mind. But what happens is we have beliefs. We have some sort of trauma going on. We may have been made fun of as a kid when we were in a social situation. We have genetic stuff. So you carry with you in every single cell in your conscious and subconscious mind, all of your ancestor stuff. So they may have had a situation. So what I do is I help, it's called a process called digging, is via asking questions, figuring out what that belief is and what that energy or trauma may have been, and shift it and let it go and change it to a more positive belief. And then I will help instill or download or teach you what it feels like to be safe in those situations, depending on what each person needs. I'm searching my memory banks for an example of that. I'm going to relate it to money because that was something that was big in my world. I started out, I quit my JCPenney job, and then that sent me on another journey. And I brought to me a business opportunity that really, I didn't really want to do, but I knew I needed it because it had a different mindset shift from an employee to an entrepreneur. And I still wasn't making money. I wasn't making money. And then theta healing came into my life, which is a lot of what I do. And to help change the beliefs, that's generally the mechanism of that healing. And I found out that I had a lot of negative beliefs, limiting beliefs about money. People who had money, people who didn't have money, all these judgments. And once those went away, money started coming into my life.
Wow. I know that there's a lot of people that are listening that are glad to hear that. That there is a way to clear the stuff that's blocking their blessings, financial blessings specifically.
And you know, I had a friend of mine, one of my teachers, she goes, you know, we all talk about abundance. She goes, abundance just means a lot of. And I went, huh. She goes, what if you have a lot of limiting beliefs? You're going to get more limiting beliefs. That's how the law of attraction works. And you're going to get, because it works for you or it works against you. And
abundance.
Right. And I was like, oh, I must have a lot of limiting beliefs about money, success, income, all of that. And what's interesting is that once those were either diminished or completely let go of, my business started to pick up.
Beautiful. That's beautiful.
So I continue to find those limitations and get rid of them as soon as I can. Yeah. Because now I don't have an emotional attachment to those limitations. Now I can recognize, and it takes a while before you can recognize that, oh my gosh, that's a limitation.
Yeah.
Let's get rid of it.
Yeah. You know, I too been working on that, letting go for a while.
Yeah. Well, you know, you have to realize that a lot of it's not even you. People think it's them. So in theta healing, we believe that there are 4 different levels to your subconscious. So your core level, that's this lifetime. Your genetic level, that's your ancestors from like your parents to 7 generations back.
7 generations, that's good. Okay, 7 generations back.
Excuse me, yep. And your history level, from that's kind of a bunch of different things. If you believe in your past lives, that's that level. And it's also your genetic level. And it's also the level that mass consciousness resides in. So that means everything we believe as a society. And then your soul level, that's not, that's not like Jennifer or Kimberly, our personalities in this lifetime. That's the piece of you that is always connected to source, always connected to God and the creator. And
thank goodness for that part. Thank goodness for that part.
Yes. So you may hold limitations on all 4 of those levels, but your genetic level and your history level, not even you. And you may not even
it affects us.
Oh, most definitely. Because it's still, I mean, as I said before, you carry with you all of your ancestors' loves, their beliefs, their triumphs, their tragedies, everything they ever experienced. Wow. It's called the study of epigenetics.
It is no wonder that people are in suffering today, because this knowledge, people don't know. It's not common knowledge. Matter of fact, it's been suppressed. And I believe that the suppression was more because of ignorance. People didn't understand it. And what people don't understand, they fear. And so this is the other motivation for having these mental and emotional health Wednesdays, is to create awareness, to expand people's circumference of awareness around themselves, who they are, what they're made of, what potential they have, what help is available to them in this area that is so largely not understood or known. And so I'm really honored and grateful that you're here, and I'm going to let you continue, because you have just a wealth of experience to help expand people's awareness of the potential that to healing that everyone has access to. And I'm going to have Jennifer's information, her contact information, under the video, so that if you want to reach out to her directly, you can.
Oh, and I offer a 30-minute mini session that's completely free. It's a discovery call. And I don't know if I've given you that information, but
do you have a link for it? If you do, you can give it to me and I'll post it.
Okay. People, here's something to think about. And if you believe you are right, there's no reason for you to change, because you believe you are right. That rightness is also a limitation. think about that.
Yeah, because if you believe you're right and you're not,
Well, it
especially
it doesn't even matter if you are actually right or not, but that doesn't give you the opportunity, doesn't allow you other points of view
right.
that may be more beneficial to you. If you believe that getting a job, working 9 to 5, buying a house, having a car, if you believe that is success to you, that's great. If you believe that's the only way you can make income is having that job, then you are right. That's the only way you can make income. However, we all know with the internet, there's thousands of ways of making other income. And if you believe you can only have that job, you're not allowing yourself more. And if you're not allowing yourself more, that's a limitation.
Yeah, because that's where the devastation comes when that job is gone, or when that job becomes in jeopardy, or when that job is threatened, when you feel like your boss is requiring more of you than you're able. That's where the stress comes from, that belief.
Yeah, and it's
It's
all about
foundation
belief.
for a lot of unhappiness.
Excuse me. I remember when I was younger, like in my teens and 20s, when my stepdad worked for the Bell Company, Northwestern Bell, Ma Bell. When the antitrust suit came along, that broke up the Bell companies. I remember my mom's total panic when my stepdad's job was on the line. I mean, he eventually retired from the Bell companies, but there were several times where his job was on the line and threatened.
Yeah.
I don't know if he
Right.
panicked because he didn't show much emotion. But my mom, it was borderline on terror because her safety and security were threatened.
Yeah. Was she a stay-at-home mom?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, she was a paralegal. We lived in a tiny Iowa town, like 1,000 people.
Wow,
So,
that's tiny. That's tiny for a town. Everybody knows everybody, and everybody knows everything about everybody.
oh yeah, and we were the big
Much
town.
as it would be.
Iowa's made up of a lot of tiny towns. Yeah, she did work as a paralegal, part-time, but mostly she was a stay-at-home mom. She actually was an entrepreneur herself without even, we didn't call it then, she was a successful Avon lady. She sold Tupperware.
Wow.
You name it.
It's industrious.
She was. And I didn't even think about it. One of my sisters, I have 7 brothers and sisters, by the way.
Wow.
My sister was like, mom was an entrepreneur. She's like, you're following in mom's footsteps. I'm like, no, I'm not. Mom wasn't. She was a stay-at-home mom. No, she was an entrepreneur. I mean, she had to, and this is before internet. She literally had to go knock on doors in a tiny Iowa town.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So I love my mom. She's in spirit now, but she's still with me.
Of course. Yeah.
So as I sidetrack, it's all about your belief. What are you believing? And are you even aware of that belief? So this is what I ask my clients. Have you ever been triggered by a person or a place or an event or something on the news that you have absolutely no reason to be triggered by? You're like, nothing happened in this lifetime. Nothing happened in my current or past lifetime for me to feel angry or upset about that, whatever that was.
Mm-hmm.
That happens a lot. That's telling me that you're not consciously aware of it. Something's going on in your genetics that we need to dig around in and figure it out and let it go, because you don't need to be bothered by that anymore.
I'm just so overwhelmed with joy that these things are available.
Absolutely.
I believe that the universe has brought forth this generation of emotional healing coaches at this time is a part of our evolution.
Oh, yeah.
Our the evolution of humanity. And
Absolutely.
yeah, an awakening. This is the great awakening. This is the great awakening.
It is. It is. You know, when I first started, I'm gonna tell you, I heard a voice. Listen to those voices. I heard a voice saying, I was coming out of a meditation, and it was this deep, booming voice saying, you need to raise your vibration. So that was also one of the impetuses in the early 90s. And I went, what does that mean?
Good for you. Good for you. You questioned it and you got the answers.
Exactly. And there was just this need and drive. And it really wasn't until I found theta healing in 2012. Yeah, 2012 or 2013. I don't remember the dates. That I was like, that was fulfilled. So I would totally agree with you. And a lot of my teachers back then were like, we are the beginnings of a movement of awareness.
Yes.
To raise the consciousness of the planet.
Amen. Raise the consciousness of the planet.
To what effect? I don't know.
I love that the consciousness of the planet, because our vibration carries over into the animal kingdom. It carries over into the plant world. And so as we raise our vibration, we also raise the vibration of the animal kingdom and the plant world as well.
Oh, absolutely. We're all connected.
Yeah.
We're all, I mean, I knew how just by the vibration of when I had two dogs, Nike and Kiyoshi. They were both Akitas. They're both in spirit now. But I always knew what their vibration is and what emotions were going through, because I mean, animals speak in energy. That's how they communicate. I always knew when he was afraid. I always knew when especially Kiyoshi. Nike was a little more reserved, but yeah, I always knew when he needed to go out at night, because he would stand over my bed, because he was tall. He's 120 pounds, and just vibrate. I would feel his vibrations. I am trying to sleep.
Your vibration.
He wouldn't touch me. He wouldn't like nose me or anything, but it just his vibrations. Yeah. So yeah, I think you are absolutely right. And we all are connected.
We all are.
Absolutely. Oh my God, we've been talking for 45 minutes.
Good stuff. This is wonderful. I mean, you and I, we could talk for hours about this. I know, but I believe that, let me just see. I didn't actually look to see if there was someone, if we have people. I thought it would show. Yeah, it would show if we had people that were on with questions. I would see that, but I don't. And that's okay, because
that's okay.
We'll have the video, and people can just type in the comments, their questions, concerns. Like I said, your information will be there for them to be able to reach out to you. So, and these videos are timeless, at least for the next 5 to 10 years. I believe that this is the awakening.
People will find you.
They will.
People will find you. I am looking, as you're talking, my computer's not cooperating today. I'm trying to get my Calendly. I might just send it to you.
Yeah, you can send it to me anytime and I'll post it. It'll be there.
And
it'll be on Facebook as well as YouTube.
So I have excuse me, I have a question for you, if you don't mind.
Absolutely.
So when did you start, and how did you get started?
You're turning the tables on me.
I know I am.
So, but it's a fair question. I I've always been holistic minded as a child. And my seeking was, I was about 8 years old, and I wanted to know, what is the purpose of life? What is the purpose?
Oh.
I mean, because I grew up in what I would consider a dysfunctional household. It was not functioning at all. There was no parenting, there was no nurturing, no love, at least not in the nurturing kind. And I was just really frustrated. And I said, there had to have been some kind of greater entity that created all of this. Surely they would have a purpose, and then they have a way to let us know what our purpose is. But no one that in my authoritative realm had any clue about that. They didn't think about it. It was not existent. And so I went through my life looking for these answers. And that was why I went to church.
Very similar.
I was looking for it, well, when I asked my mother that day, she said, yes, there's a God. His name is Jesus. He gave us the Bible. And in the Bible, the gist of the Bible is to treat others the way you want to be treated. And I thought, well, that doesn't answer my question, but I'll start with the Bible. And I tried to, but it was in Old English and I couldn't understand it. Like I said, I was about 8. So, like I said, the rest of my life I'm living, I'm looking for clues to answers to these questions, and I wasn't seeing them anywhere. But I did venture into the Bible. First, the people came to my door and introduced me to it, and I thought, oh, great, I get to study, and I did. And then that opened up the world of studying the Bible with different denominations. And after studying for about 25 years, I had more questions, and they weren't getting answered through religion. And so I had grown in this real strong relationship with the Creator. So I had guidance now. I would just go through prayer, and through prayer, these things would come into my life. And I ended up deciding to become a holistic practitioner when my job was phased out by the Bell Company.
By the Bell Company.
The Bell Company, yeah. They said, okay, this telecommunications is changing, ways. And anyway, but I was excited because I was ready. I was done with that anyway. I was like, this is not fun anymore. I want something else. I know God's got something great for me. And it was the healing modality and the holistic healing. And so I started studying for that, got my certification as a massage therapist, and then went on for looking for the nutrition aspect of it. I found the Institute for Integrative Nutrition that just opened up this whole other world of everything. I mean, I was introduced to Wayne Dyer, Marianne Williamson, Eckhart Tolle. I mean, just, and it just opened up a new world. But the Bible, my study of the Bible was a foundation. And actually before that, I studied with the Messianic Jews and got even deeper entrenched in the Torah, or the roots, biblical roots. Went to Israel and studied there and got even more the wisdom of Kabbalah, the wisdom of the Talmud, and other sacred texts. I came back and studied into the Vedas and the Quran and Book of the Dead, and just trying to get a sense and understanding of where we came from and where we're going, what we're here for. And then I was introduced to Ayurveda, and that was just that's where I got a real firm foundation and began to grow in creating this heart joy method of transformation.
Wow, that is amazing. Isn't it just fascinating when you look back going, how did I get from where I'm at now to where I was, and all of the synchronicities.
Like meeting my husband, who had started school the same time as I. He started as an studying Ayurveda, and I studied with my holistic emotional healing coaching. And through Ayurveda, our love for Ayurveda brought us together and among other things. And when we had so much more in common, but again, synchronicity. I was in California, he was in Arizona. How would we find each other?
Yep. I know. Amazing. Amazing. I mean, my best friend, we went to college together, and she worked at, I don't know if you have Arby's in
Arby's? Yeah, we do. We do
Okay.
have Arby's, well, at least here in Arizona, and I think it's in California too. Mhm.
And yeah, she worked at Arby's in Iowa City, and she said, I met a man who's going to be your husband.
He's going to be your husband.
I
He's
met a
going to be
man.
your husband. She knows
Yeah,
he's going to be
yeah.
your husband.
And the synchronicity is,
Empath too?
and the synchronicity is, his girlfriend at the time and I lived on the same exact floor in our dorm.
Wow.
And she actually introduced us. It took us 10 years.
The girlfriend introduced you?
His girlfriend.
Yeah,
because
so
he
I'm
was
saying
dating.
his girlfriend introduced
Yeah.
you. Wow.
And it took us 10 years to get together. So that was in 83. So we got together in 93. And we've been together ever since.
Wow. Oh, that's beautiful. That's
So talk about synchronicity.
and the fact that like his girlfriend at the time introduced you and probably just released him to you. Willingly or unwillingly.
Yeah, they were together for another.
On the unconscious level, right?
Yeah, exactly. And we actually dated once when they broke up, and I had just broken up with my boyfriend who I thought I was going to marry. We had already started planning, yada yada, and it didn't go well. Actually, it didn't go well.
But the first date didn't go well.
No, it took us years to piece the date together. And my friend was so mad at me. She didn't talk to me for a year.
Wow.
She's like, he is the one for you. And I'm like,
wow.
Didn't happen. But
she was so sure of that. I always say that when you don't, that you're being prepared for each other.
Mm-hmm.
So you weren't ready for each other. You had to have some more experiences to be able to appreciate each other. That's, yeah. I always say that when if you don't have your soulmate, if you don't have your person, your life partner, it's because you're still being prepared for them, and they're still being prepared for you. And when you're prepared for each other, you'll come together. It's just like, it's how the universe works. But it's science. It's magnetism. It's the magnetism. When you're ready for each other. Now, just because you're ready for each other doesn't mean you're not going to have any challenges together.
Right.
That's the next level of growing together, because that's the whole purpose of us being together, is to help each other to grow in the way that we need to grow. And
exactly. I mean, it took, he was getting over her. I was getting over my boyfriend when we dated. We both had healing to do. And another time when my sister was going through one of my sisters, I have 3 of them, was going through a rough patch. Instead of going to Des Moines, I lived right outside of Des Moines, which is our capital city. I drove back to Iowa City to see a friend of mine, and we went to his restaurant because he managed a restaurant in town. And he came after he got off shift, came and sat with me and put his arm around me, and I gave him my phone number, which he promptly lost. So it was another couple of months, and I drove back and I said, let me look. This is when you had to actually look things up in a phone book. Cell phones.
Yeah, no more. The cell phones hadn't evolved yet.
No, Google didn't even exist then.
Yeah, internet. Yeah,
so I looked. I found a phone booth, and
so funny.
and found his phone number and called him, and that's when we've been together ever since. So
that's such a beautiful love story. That's a beautiful love story.
And here's the cool thing is that in that time I worked on myself, and he worked on himself in his own way.
That's the key. That is
to be able to match each other vibrationally.
Yes. That's the same thing with my husband and I. And it's so funny, he would tell me stories about such people and situations and circumstances that happened before we met. And I thought to myself, if he hadn't had that experience he wouldn't have been ready for me. He wouldn't have appreciated me, or, he wouldn't, he would have had a problem with some aspect of me.
Oh, I know. It would have been two ships passing in the sea. So here's the cool thing to bring it all together is that he worked on himself, you worked on yourself, you both raised your vibration to become a vibrational match for something greater.
That's the science.
Greater than yourself.
That's the science of it. Yep. That's right.
And that's what you and I do. We help people become vibrational matches to what they want.
Absolutely. I couldn't have said that better myself. That's so perfect. Yeah. And that's what we want to leave you with. If you you can reach Jennifer, I'll have her information, but if you want to reach her ASAP, you go to LinkedIn, Healing Peace Within. That's what, just go to LinkedIn and type in Healing Peace Within, and she'll be the first one to pop up. And that's the right one. And then her contact information is there. Thank you for listening and joining us on video, and we'll see you next Wednesday. Take care.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Yes, thank you, Jennifer, for your time here and for being with me. It's been a pleasure. Sure, pleasure. Yeah, I just love what you do, what you're about, and I want to see more people being healed.
Me too.
Yes, thank you. And let's see here. So I'm going to stop this recording here, but I got to go stop the other one too. Okay, I tell you what we're going to do. I'm gonna have to cut this off, but I think the only, wait a minute.
We're still